y'all, these mountains, oh my God. No, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see them, but we're going to Montana. So you're gonna see them, and you're gonna see a lot of them. Oh my God, these roads are amazing. Everything's amazing. I'm so excited. My next adventure awaits in Montana.
Workaway is something that I've wanted to try for years. I knew it was a great way to get free accommodation and sometimes free food and pay in exchange for a few hours of work a week. But I'm not gonna lie, it was a jump that kind of scared me. Just like messaging somebody off the internet in a random place that I've never been to and saying I would go and work for them and then go and live with them. That sounds scary, right? It's pretty far out of my comfort zone, but let's be honest. How good does working 20 hours a week in exchange for free accommodation sound, especially when rent is this high? Sounded great, so I took the risk. And it wound up being one of the best decisions of my life. I drove from Colorado to Montana, and it was my first time ever being in that state. Gorgeous drive, beautiful mountains. I pulled up and I found some residential parking because I was living on the main street of a downtown area of a city. I have never in my life lived on or have been able to afford to live on a main street anywhere in any of the places that I live. So I was really excited about that. I checked this place out on Google Maps before I got there, obviously, and I was right in the middle of a bunch of bars and restaurants and shops and coffee shops. And if I don't have to drive, I prefer not to. Every single thing was in walking distance. So after I parked, I took a deep breath and walked in the front door of the hostel. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little shocked to see that it was in a basement. I personally thrive in the sunlight and the fresh air, but this was an experience that was meant to push me out of my comfort zone, so I never let that smile leave my face. I walked all the way to the end of the hallway and was greeted by quite a few people that were all just hanging out in the kitchen area, having a good time. I was a little awkward at first, but after being shown my bed, they invited me out to dinner, and I was like, okay, cool, it's time to dive headfirst into this new life. I had spent a lot of the winter inside at my friend's house in Colorado just editing, because it was so cold out, and when it's like freezing, I don't want to go out and do things, so I'd prefer to just work and edit and make money. But after not having been very social for most of the winter and diving right into making 7 new friends in one day, it was a little overwhelming, not gonna lie. But I had been reading The Year of Yes, and there was no way that I was going to turn down any new experiences, so I was going to dinner. And I am so glad that I did, because I had an amazing time. Everyone I met was so nice and welcoming, which shouldn't surprise me, because when I was in Europe, that's how everybody was at hostels there. When you're in a hostel, that's just the type of environment. You're there to meet people because that's what you like to do. So I was given my first full day there off to explore the city, and I immediately fell in love with Bozeman. There was so much to see and do. I spent a lot of my time at the park nearby that I could walk to and just read my book and wrote in my journal and really sat back and was like, this is my new life now. I basically moved to a new city, but avoided all the costs of starting up an apartment and getting a moving truck, which is thousands of dollars. But I'm living here for the next month. And like, that's just awesome. So the next day I started the work, and honestly, it was so easy. It was your basic things that need to be done in a hostel, like cleaning the rooms, doing laundry, making sure the kitchen's nice and organized. And it was an easy 5-hour shift. And the day after that, I started to learn how to use the computer and work the front desk. So this is the first job that I had ever had that put me in a position to greet people. Hello. I guess you could count hosting at the Cheesecake Factory, but I feel like that wasn't as much of a process as checking in guests at this hostel was. But that was something that really used to give me anxiety in the past, and I wanted to use this opportunity to push myself out of my comfort zone to see if this is a type of job that I really can do. If you had been following me for a while, you know that I basically just bust tables at the Cheesecake Factory when I worked there because I was too anxious to serve. I had a lot of overwhelming social anxiety, but I have learned a lot about myself in the past year and where that came from and how to get rid of it. So I was ready to dive in headfirst. So I had an amazing manager, shout out to Gina, who really helped me get everything down so I was comfortable doing it on my own really quickly. I would basically handle the computer part of checking people in, take their payment, talk to them about the rules of the hostel, and then give them a tour before showing them their bed for the night. And after watching her do it over and over, I was like, okay, I got this. And it was actually so much fun. Like, everybody that walked through the door had a different story to tell and something new for me to learn. This is the hostel vibe.
Hola.
Hola. Hola.
Puppy snuggle.
The hostel dog. Oh.
And the more I did it, the better I got at it. And guests thought that I had been there a lot longer than I actually was because of how confident I was in it. It had really pushed me to be a more social person, which I really wanted after that winter of isolation. So just to put into perspective of how good of a deal this actually was, let's take the Bozeman minimum wage, which is $9.20 an hour, and at 20 hours a week, after taxes are taken out, that would be about $166 a week, which would equal $664 a month at 20 hours a week, which obviously nobody can live on at all. So there's no way I would be able to get away with spending $644 a month to live on the main street in a downtown area in Montana. So I really lucked out. This line is really bothering me. So during my time there, I spent my first 2 weeks with one awesome roommate, and I spent another week alone, and then I spent my last 2 weeks with another 2 awesome roommates and a dog. And I honestly, I really loved that. I loved not going to sleep and being alone in my room, or having that cute dog come up and cuddle with me, and just having friends nearby. I was pretty lonely that 1 week that I was alone. I just really enjoy social areas more these days. But yeah, honestly, it was a steal for only working 20 hours a week in exchange for that bed. Plus, one rule at the hostel is if you don't label your food or you leave it behind, it becomes free game, which I know might sound a little sketchy at first, but it was really nice to have a bunch of bags of rice left behind and potatoes to bake, and there was always coffee, and they provided breakfast at the hostel every day of bagels and fruit and oatmeal. So there was always food, and I didn't have to go and spend anything unless I wanted something special, or unless I was going out to drink or something. I never even filled up my gas tank when I was there. I left town maybe 2 to 3 times the entire time I was there to go to the hot springs, but besides from that, everything was in walking distance. It also allowed me time to work my remote job, so I was able to make money as well and just save it. A lot of people that worked there also had a part-time job in the city, which was great that they were able to do that. Now you're probably wondering, okay, Lindsay, this all sounds fantastic. Was there any bad things that went wrong at this hostel? And to be completely honest, the only thing that would be perceived as bad would be dealing with bad guests. But that's any customer service job. There's always going to be crazy people that try and make your job more difficult, but that's working in any restaurant, hotel, with the public. That's what's gonna happen. Sometimes you have to yell at people for being too loud during quiet hours. Sometimes you have to kick people out because they're too drunk. Sometimes guests leave a horrible mess that you have to clean up. But it is what it is, right? It's a job. And maybe things could be weird if you didn't like your coworkers, but I never had that problem. I was lucky enough to love literally everybody that I worked with. They were an amazing group of people. I truly made friends that I know are gonna last a lifetime, and they became a family so quickly. These are some of my favorite moments.
Yes. Oh, I love it. This is the energy we need every day. Professional. First hot pocket. Yeah, because I have to put it in the group.
Now I'm scared.
Now I'm scared. Is it hot?
A little bit. It's really good.
It's part of the experience.
Remedies for the after. What?
Dog. I just love the trot.
Yeah. Trotsky. Trotsky life.
Oh! I won.
Welcome on a Tuesday night. I wish you were here now. Sing it out.
bubble tea? Bubble tea? In case anyone tries to mess with this hostel, you will face the wrath of Carson. You don't want to mess with this.
You look so peaceful. So meditative.
I am aggressively violent when I need to.
Don't let this look fool you.
Keep the tiger in the cage for now.
I'm dead. This is great.
And we're off. Whee! Whee!
Whole vibe.
Hey!
Whoa!
Bobby!
It's a lobster shirt.
Might not even be sleeting anymore.
No. What are you ready for? Bucky Night, the Sleet, Montana? I'm not sure, I forgot. You do that, I want to eat some soup.
Okay, it's too much. My thigh was like shaking. Hi.
Oh my
Bye, Lindsay.
No, stop.
I'm going to. We became such good friends in like a week, and now I have to leave. Don't be listening to Isaac's Baby at 10 in the morning, slightly hungover, drinking coconut water.
This is the whole vibe. Oh, we get Cleo too! Of course, yes! File out, file out, file out. Last day. Scott's here.
If any of you have really heavy criminal records,
I can't be. Yes! The whole squad. And Cleo.
Still got his fucking bare feet on the sidewalk.
Goodbyes never get easier. Never.
And I can honestly say it was not easy to leave. Part of me wishes I stayed longer, but I already had a plane ticket booked to my next destination. I couldn't have asked for a better first Workaway experience because honestly, it makes me so excited for the next one. Speaking of which, I have already had an interview for, so make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, because in September, I will be working at an English-speaking party hostel in Slovakia. My plane ticket is already bought and I'm going. I just have a summer camp job to work first before I go. I'm really excited that I'm finally in a position and know what to do well enough to be able to leave this country without really even knowing when I'm gonna return. I can see myself using this Workaway app for a really long time because I have left my apartment over a year ago and I have never been happier. Constantly changing things, constantly changing jobs, where I am, where I live, like this was what I was looking for. I kept bouncing around from state to state thinking that I was looking for something within a state that would make me happy, but it's the fact that I keep getting to go and have new experiences, and I just want to do this all over the world, whether it be in hostels or working on organic gardens or anything to push me further out of my comfort zone, because that's when you really start to live. And if you're like me and you're watching this video thinking, man, I just want to go and travel the world, but you have a job and a stable place to live and you're afraid to give it up, just make sure you keep watching, because I was in that exact same position, and now everywhere I film I'm in some place new, and life has never been better. Let me be the inspiration to you that you can go out and live your dream no matter what it is or where it's going to take you. Alright, thank you guys so much for listening to my first Workaway experience, and I will catch y'all on the next one.